Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday, and with me, as always, is the best guy I know, Nick Mason.
Thank you so much.
What do you think of a genuine compliment? You like that?
I liked it.
Good.
I was going to mock you for your warm soda pop, but I'm also got a warm soda pop.
That's true.
Yeah, but now you've disarmed me.
With my charm.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right.
We're both slinging compliments all goddamn episode, Mason.
And I mean, you're slinging warm sodas like the worst bartender in the universe.
It's not my fault because somebody didn't replenish the fridge. I'm always replenishing the sodas, Mason.
Yeah.
And you know that about me.
Yeah.
Because whenever I find that they're warm, I'm upset.
You were upset.
My dad's sneaking in, Mason. I don't know what he's doing.
You think that's what's happening?
I don't know. Listen. We've got a big episode this week, mate. So we're going to talk about Agatha All Along and also the movie Here, a movie nobody has seen.
That's correct.
But
I disagree. I mean, you've seen it and I've seen it.
That's true.
And the maybe 6 other people in my cinema saw it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So we're also going to talk about the news of the week. We've got an update on the box office of Venom: The Last Dance.
Better than we expected, but not good.
But not good, no. I want to go through an article from Variety, not extensively, but it's basically about superhero burnout.
Uh-oh.
And how this, etc., bad movies, what does that mean? I want to talk about what the money that Sydney Sweeney made for Madam Web and other movies that she had to do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Had to do. that she was drafted into, Mason. We've got good news for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania fans because it did actually turn a profit.
That's so true, isn't it? Hold on for that answer, folks.
Yeah.
You're gonna. They're big numbers.
Huge.
Don't be blown away.
You're going to be able to buy a Kia Sorrento with the kind of money that it made.
Whoa.
Yeah. Also, Tarantino's been saying some stuff about things he likes and doesn't like.
Yeah, and stuff he has opinions on, but he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, well, specifically, yes. Dune and Joker 2 and the like. We've also got an update on the next Godzilla film.
Oh, yeah?
From the guy who made that really good Godzilla movie.
Godzilla versus Megalodon.
Exactly.
You know?
Game of Thrones movie update.
Okay, if we must.
For real.
Whoa.
And then trailers for the Skeleton Crew Companion and some upcoming Disney Plus stuff, etc. Time codes below as mentioned.
You say some upcoming Disney Plus stuff, but Marvel did release a kind of like a 2025 look ahead. And there's a lot of good stuff in there, I think.
Name one.
No.
Yep, all right.
Yeah, that's right.
You got me.
I won't rise to your bait. Grow up.
Let's start with this. Venom 3: The Last Dance. Yeah, it had the lowest opening of any Venom movie, which is devastating for us as big fans of the series.
Even the 1970s directed TV Venom,
it was lower than that.
Yeah, that's right.
Lower numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Remember
bad.
when Nicholas Hammond's 70s Spider-Man met 1970s Venom?
I do.
Just a guy in a bunch of trash bags.
Yeah, but it held better than it was initially thought that it would. It's hitting about 86 million US this weekend.
Okay.
And it's doing okay internationally. Again, it's still by far the worst response to a Venom movie. I think the Halloween season probably bolstered a little bit.
Sure,
Also, it's not a great time to release a movie because there's a big presidential event, I want to say, coming up.
I mean, I haven't heard about this. I've been watching the movies Venom, Venom, Let There Be the Last Dance, and the movie Here.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I haven't had time to think about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it hasn't been drilled directly into my brain every morning when I switch Twitter
For 4 years?
For 4 years. God, won't it be exciting for that 2 minutes when we finally know the results, and then it'll be
screaming.
It'll be screaming, and then back to the campaign trail for another 4 years.
They shouldn't be able to do that,
right?
In Australia, you can campaign for 13 minutes leading up, and that's it.
That's right.
You get your one shot at it,
and everybody says I'm going to do the exact same thing I did last time,
and they do.
Yeah, and it's bad.
It's bad here. But anyway, Mason, Variety has an article.
Oh, yes.
It's called
a Varietical.
I agree. It's called Superhero Burnout. With most superhero movies flopping, can Marvel and DC's 2025 slates reverse an unprecedented box office drought? God, that headline.
I know.
So catchy.
And so timely.
It is, isn't it?
Variety finally jumping on the superhero bandwagon, superhero burnout bandwagon.
Absolutely they are.
Good
so they were talking about how, look, there's been a slew of superhero flops this year, including Joker 2 recently, including Venom 3, which again is performing better than initially thought, but still bad. Madam Web, obviously. But I guess what this article, it talks about a little bit, but those are bad.
Sure.
Bad or people don't like them.
Right.
But mostly bad. It's just looking at them. Because if you look at the recent ones that have done well, we've talked about this all the time. Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Deadpool and Wolverine was really well received. Joker 2, good movie. All of these movies are said to be good and have made a lot of money. So that's, I think, again, I feel like we come back to this a lot, but it's just good movies.
Just good movies.
It's just good movies.
It's just good movies.
Just make good movies. Sometimes good movies don't make a lot of money, but most of the time they do all right.
Maybe next to the Hollywood sign, they should make like a golden statue of like, Louis B. Mayer from MGM Studios or whatever, and underneath it could say, just be good movies.
Just be good movies. That'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm a bad guy in all other respects.
Yeah, he did a bunch of so they should add that as well.
They should add that at the bottom, yeah.
And I did a bunch of other stuff or whatever you could look into, but there's not enough room to put it on this statue or sign or whatever you're proposing here. Yeah, okay.
Louis B. Mayer, just be good movie.
Okay. It's good.
I think it is good.
It's good. So they're talking about the lineup for next year of superhero movies and what that's going to look like. We've got Captain America. There's a bird in his Captain America.
Sure.
They've got Thunderbolts Asterix. Mm-hmm. They've got the Fantastic Four First Steps. Maybe now changing to First Contact, maybe or something.
According to whom, James?
I don't know. I saw that rumor. I don't know who said it, but somebody said it.
Okay. Why would they do that?
I don't know. Does it matter? Do you think anybody's locked into that first title? Are you married to it? Are you?
I mean, I'm a little.
Should get it annulled, Mason. You can change it. You can call it whatever. You can call it Fantastic Four again. Fantastic Four. Yeah,
sure. So just the end bit, you can't change any other bits.
No.
Hamtastic Four?
That's pretty good, actually.
Right.
Okay, Hamtastic Four, Are we good?
That's good, finally, yes.
Great, good. Good and great. Also, the DC movies kick off, obviously. Superman's coming out in July.
I'd consider this, because they changed it. It used to be Superman Legacy.
Yeah.
Hamtastic Superman.
That's good, actually.
Right?
You know. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is going in productions. Lanterns. I don't think Lanterns will be out next year, but
surely not.
That'll be ramping up. I just think, look, they have to be good, and I think these companies need to recognize that these are all not billion-dollar movies.
Okay, but consider this: they won't acknowledge that.
But they should.
But they can't.
They need to slow.
Their stockholders will not allow that. You'll be kicked out a window.
Can't you explain stuff to people and be like, "This is a growth period where we're rebuilding." From the ground up.
Well, I mean, I suspect that is what James Gunn is doing.
It's like cutting and bulking in professional weightlifting, Mason.
Okay, all right.
You know?
Sure.
You got to put in the work, build the foundation.
I'm sure you do, but it's not a stockholders meeting of bodybuilders, is it?
Yeah, you're right. What's a metaphor that they could understand with their tiny little brains, with their tiny little snake brains that only want money?
You could say, imagine you're a bunch of vultures and you've picked one corpse clean in the desert. You got to wait for another one to slowly, dehydrate and die on the side of a highway, and then you can pick that corpse clean.
Yeah,
that's a rebuilding year.
You can't just be picking at the same corpse, is what you're saying.
No, that's so true. Yeah,
that's a pretty good metaphor, actually.
I think so. Yeah.
So imagine all of you are vultures. That's a good way to look at that, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw this. I'm sure I can't find it now. But
I'm sure you could.
Here
he goes. He's going to find it.
One of the CEOs, I think, of maybe OpenAI or something like that was like, imagine in the future, there's going to be, thanks to AI, there's going to be 20 times more content than there is now.
I don't know. That's too much. I don't want that now.
The problem now isn't that there's only 5% of the content that we need and crave. It's that there's so much garbage already.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we've talked about this. Like, this is our job. And we don't watch everything.
No.
We don't even get close to watching everything.
Okay, here we go. Stability AI.
I knew you could do it.
Yeah, I found it.
This is why you're my good friend.
Thank you. I went into my Gmail and I searched for AI.
Wow.
And I found it. Stability AI CEO Prem Akaraju says in 10 years, most film and TV will be generated rather than rendered, and there'll be 20 times as much content to watch. And isn't that beautiful?
I fucking hate that. I hate everything you've said. What do they mean? Like from go to woe? Like the entire thing?
I think so, yeah. I mean, but also, this is meaningless. He's just saying
it's not true.
He's just saying a thing to get more people to give him money.
Yeah.
But it'll be, I guess the thing there is you'll go, I like superheroes, and then it just generates your superhero TV show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Did you see somebody was like, we built an AI, we built a new game. It's Minecraft, but it's generative AI. And it's just like, yeah, you built it off Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because there's millions of hours of Minecraft videos on the internet. You just fed that all in.
And it did it.
But not well.
No, of course it didn't.
Like as soon as you turn, like everything disappears. There's no object permanence in it.
Now,
anyway.
I don't play a lot of Minecraft, but when you turn, does everything disappear?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the movie?
I mean, we don't know yet. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the movie, if you turned around, you'd see like more cinema seats.
Yeah.
Unless you're right at the
so
back.
They're looking. Oh, I thought you meant like in the movie, if the person in the movie turns around, they can see us in the cinema.
I mean, potentially with AI, the possibilities are limitless.
God.
So I think that's wonderful.
That's a good thing to pitch some stock people.
I think so too.
What if a movie could see you? What? It's the future. It's 10 years from now. Right? And a movie's looking at you.
Yeah.
Great. All good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, again, yeah, you're probably right, but this is there needs to be a slow ramp up to something again.
Yeah.
It's cutting and bulking. It's corpses and vultures.
It's corpses and vultures. Thank you.
All right.
You want a big, fat, juicy corpse to collapse in the middle of the square in the W. You need a big, fat, juicy corpse to collapse under the big water tower outside of Warner Brothers. You know
Hell
what I
yeah.
mean? You know, and the Animaniacs can leap out and just.
THR said that Sydney Sweeney is up to some stuff.
Oh yeah,
and the reason
she is up to some
pretty
stuff.
busy.
Good for her.
The reason that she wanted to appear in Madam Web, or she decided to, is because then she could make Anyone But You,
which did really well.
That's right.
Yeah, and people generally,
yes,
they generally like it.
Yeah, so
I liked it. I thought it was fun.
She made, I think it was 7.5 million. I've got some numbers here.
No, she made for Venom, not for Venom. For Madam Web, she made $750,000.
Oh, $750,000. You're right. Sorry. And she made $2 million on Anyone But You, but she also had a producer's credit on that.
Yeah,
and a lot of creative involvement. But because I guess the reason she did Madam Web also is because that's like the big one, right? You do the big one for them, you know, like the big superhero movie.
Right. You know, I was thinking about this because I saw this article as well. And recently we talked about how in Venom: The Last Dance, there, you know, Juno Temple's in it, and Chiwetel Ejiofor's back, and Rhys Ifans is back, as different characters in, you know, a Marvel universe of sorts. I think this is a good. These movies would be, if you're a good actor, these are great movies to be in because no one ever blames you if it's bad.
That is
everybody
true.
knows they're going to be bad.
Yeah,
nobody's like, well, this movie was going to be okay, but then Sydney Sweeney ruined it. No.
Yeah.
She's in it for 5 minutes and they did. Like, at worst, people will be like, well, this person was in this movie and they didn't get enough to do.
Yeah.
Or you absolutely ham it up and people go, well, this guy knew what this movie was about.
Matt Smith. Morbius.
Exactly. The only part of Morbius that people remember is Matt Smith.
He's doing that dance.
He's become a vampire and he's doing his evil dance.
He's doing a Morbius.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the only real like pushback from that would be in a couple of years you go on Graham Norton and he goes, weren't you on that shit thing? And he's like, I was.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But
those are the consequences.
But also we've reached a point of like saturation of these that everybody on that couch will be like, yeah, I was in one too. Ah.
We were all in that one, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
From memory.
But there's to some degree, there's no real downside there. Like if you're Sydney Sweeney and like you've done stuff that people like and you're sort of on the up, take that check and just be in the background and be like, yeah, I had fun and we put, you know, we made the costumes and
stood on the table.
I was on a wire and, you know, whatever. And then they let me make this movie, which was successful. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, I know it's coming up. Don't worry about it. We're going to do a commentary for Madam Web, but at BigSandwich.co this week, we looked at a Venom comic from 2018, which is very loosely what they adapted into Venom 3.
That's right.
But the comic is good and the movie is bad.
Correct.
If you want to check that out,
you're
more than welcome to do so. Anyway, so Madam Web, the big one, made $100 million on an $80 million budget. But Anyone But You made $220 million on a $25 million budget. So which is the real winner? The one that made more money for costing much less.
Correct,
obviously. Because they filmed it in Sydney or whatever.
They did film it in Sydney.
Have you seen that one yet?
Yeah, I have seen it.
Did you see that one yet?
I've seen it.
Did you think were you charmed by it?
I thought it was pretty charming.
I heard it got your like hackles up though.
In what way?
Like, you know, when like a dog sees another dog it doesn't like and it like goes like it did that and in the back of their neck kind of like goes up.
Because I saw some other Australians.
I don't know what happened, but that's what people have been saying about you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, watching that movie.
Well, that's true.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Nothing I hate more than Australians on screen.
I know. You know who isn't that? Furiosa's mum.
Yeah, Charlie Fraser.
Pretty cool stuff, man. All right.
Do you think she'll be Wonder Woman?
She'd be a good Wonder Woman.
I think so too.
Yeah. I didn't recognize her as like the same person. She was good as Furiosa's mum.
Correct.
And
Mrs. Furiosa.
Miss Furiosa. And obviously there's a link between Warner Brothers and Furiosa, and that's a good choice.
That's right.
Did you invent that?
Yep.
That got your hackles up?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Good. Forbes.
I mean, she might be too busy in Death Stranding 2 or whatever, because Hideo Kojima saw her in Furiosa and was like, get on a Zoom call. Get in my room where I scan you.
That's how he sounds?
Get in it. Yeah. Get in here. Get in here, love. Get in my room. My scan room.
He did say he saw Venom.
Yeah, and that's the kiss of death.
Yeah, but
for people who don't know,
saw something.
Hideo Kojima, a video game director who's directed most of the Metal Gear Solid games.
He did all the work on them according to the
That's
credits.
exactly right. He has a movie rating system where he goes on Twitter and if he likes the movie, he's got a photo of himself in the cinema, and then he'll do a big review of it. And if he hates it, he just says Saw, Venom: The Last Dance, and that's it. And then he hated it.
He hated it. Forbes, Mason. Ant-Man.
Oh, it's Forbes time.
Ant-Man.
It's Forbin time?
It is Forbin time. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania actually made a profit, actually.
Oh, yeah?
That's their headline.
I'm so happy for them.
Me too. So it only grossed $476 million, according to Box Office Mojo.
Well, that's a big chunk of change.
And when you take into account that studios...
When I take into account.
Yeah, oh yeah. So you don't...
Did
you say cake?
Yeah.
All right. Studios typically receive about 50% of the takings, meaning Disney made about $238 million. Which was $92 million less than they spent to make the movie. However, it ended up making $88,000 because the UK government reimbursed them as $58.2 million.
Nice.
So the British taxpayer
foot the bill
has saved this movie.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Thank you so much for your service.
God save the king, I say.
Do you think he did it?
Yeah, probably.
He signed it with a fancy pen through gritted teeth?
In the UK, if you die and you don't have a will, he gets all your stuff. Did you know that?
That's fair.
Yeah, and so he probably used that money to save Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's probably been his dream for a long time,
I reckon it was.
And if his dear old mum was still with us, she would have done the same. I think.
She died. Didn't she?
Yep.
Mason? Tarantino is saying things.
Well, no, but before we move on from that...
You don't think she died?
Maybe. Door's still open, I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying...
It's hell.
Why is that information coming to light now?
I don't know.
Why does anybody need to know that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania made a small profit?
Do you think it's a boardroom thing?
I think probably somebody, one of these kind of rumor mill insiders, probably just saw a balance sheet and it was just like water cooler talk, and they were like, "Can you believe this?" And they're like, "Well, this is a thing."
WC talk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, man, I hear you.
Yeah.
Water closet talk.
Yeah, no, I know.
Toilets, Mason. Toilets in Europe.
Yep.
They call them it's how they're labelled for people who don't know.
Yeah.
This is for Americans.
I understand.
And Australians. They don't fucking know. Mason.
We call it Dunny talk.
We do. We call it Big D talk. Tarantino, he's been saying catty things.
Sure.
To another catty man, Bret Easton Ellis.
Oh, yeah. One of the famous catty men of our time.
Who people don't know. He has this podcast.
I actually didn't know that. Wait, who does?
Bret Easton Ellis. It's called the
Tarantino
Bret Easton
also
Ellis.
does.
Does he?
He has cinema speculation.
Wow.
I know.
Does he do like trailer breakdowns?
Yeah, he does. He copies out. It comes out a day after ours, and it's the same thing. It's exactly the same. It's wild.
Curse his big face.
This segment is going to be on his podcast tomorrow.
I don't like this.
We'll see what kind of spin he puts on it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, check this out. Quentin Tarantino's a bitch. Now we'll see what he says.
How's he gonna spin
we'll see
that?
what he says tomorrow. Yeah.
So Bret Easton Ellis, of course, he wrote fucking
American Psycho, among other things. Yeah,
and probably other things.
He did. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so Tarantino was basically talking about a bunch of things that he hasn't seen. And he said, it's one after another of this remake and that remake. People ask, have you seen Dune? Have you seen Ripley? Have you seen Shogun? And I'm like, no. There's 6 or 7 Ripley books. If you do one again, why are you doing the same one that you've done twice already?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, I've already seen the story twice before, and I didn't really like either version, so I'm not really interested in seeing it a third time. If you did another story, that would be interesting enough to give it a shot anyway.
I mean, they did. It was called Ripley's Game.
True.
And John Malkovich was Ripley.
Was that good?
It was all right.
I think
there was another one as well.
Yeah, with Barry.
Your friend Barry.
Yeah, my friend Barry.
Yeah.
Ripley's Game. Was that set between Alien 2 and 3?
Yeah.
So I saw Shogun in the 80s. I watched all 13 hours. I'm good. I don't need to see that story again. I don't care how they did it. I don't care if they take me and put me in ancient Japan in a time machine. I don't care. I've seen the story.
You'd care a little bit, Quentin Tarantino.
I think you would care immensely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's allowed to watch whatever he wants, but
I don't think he should be allowed to watch everything he wants.
Dune is vastly different than original Dune.
Absolutely.
And it's better.
And look, Ripley, the new Ripley Netflix series, does cover most of the same ground, but it is an interesting new take. Like, tonally, it's
black and white.
It is black and white, but it's also a lot grubbier. Like, the original one...
Ripley's grub.
Thank you. The Jude Law, Matt Damon one is very much like way more glamorous, and it's like this kind of idealized version of that era and that country. And the new one, it's like everybody's mean and grubby and everything's awful and it's kind of sad, you know.
And it covers just like, if you've seen the first movie, it is that.
It's the same. Are
they going to do more?
Don't know. You'd have to ask Andrew Scott and/or Dakota Fanning.
All right, I will.
Who is still a little girl.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I think she's like 30.
I don't think
All
that's
right.
true.
She's still a little girl.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Also, he liked Joker 2, The Audience Thinks This Is Pooh, which is the official title.
Yeah.
He said, I really, really liked it a lot, like tremendously, and I went to see it expecting to be impressed by the filmmaking, but I thought it was going to be an arm's length intellectual exercise that ultimately I wouldn't think worked like a movie, but I would appreciate it for what it is. And I'm just nihilistic enough to enjoy a movie that doesn't quite work as a movie, or that's a big giant mess to some degree. And I didn't find it an intellectual exercise. I got caught up into it. I really liked the musical sequences. I got really caught up. I thought the more banal songs were, the more the banal songs were, the better they were. I find myself listening to the lyrics for once in my life in a way I never have before.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Maybe his next movie will be a musical.
Maybe. He's only got one movie left.
The Musical 8.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
On top of that, I thought it was really...
Wait. Hamtastic 8, the musical.
And that thing I said afterwards.
Yes, you know.
Thank you. On top of that, I thought it was really funny. He saw it in an almost empty IMAX theater and he could laugh without bothering anybody. I know I'm laughing at scenes that other people wouldn't be laughing at.
Okay, sure.
Will they?
I don't know.
They don't, because he's different.
He is a little bit different.
He gets it. The Joker directed the movie. These are the good quotes.
Oh, yes.
The entire concept, even him spending the studio's money, he's spending it like the Joker would spend it. All right? And then his big surprise gift, the Jack in the Box, when he offers you his hand for a handshake and you get a buzzer with 10,000 volts shooting you.
Except none of those things happen in the movie, do they?
No, it's
like not. Yeah, but it's not that kind of Joker, is it?
No, it's not. That is true. It's that's hitting the comic book geeks. He's saying fuck you to all of them. He's saying fuck you to the movie audience. He's saying fuck you to Hollywood. He's saying fuck you to anybody who owns any stock at DC and Warner Brothers.
All the people paying his bills. He's got his money and he's out.
And Todd Phillips is the Joker. Filmed the Joker, all right? Is what it is. He is the Joker.
Wow. Do you think that Quentin Tarantino would be saying this if he weren't one movie away from retiring? Because what Todd Phillips has done here, and we talked about this, I think, when the movie came out. It came out, you remember that?
Yeah.
It's gone now. Remember Megalopolis came out? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I just had,
Yeah.
We watched it.
I know. But what I was saying is...
I had to drive to a faraway cinema.
Whoa.
That made me mad. Go on.
I paid $49 for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You should be way madder than me.
I'm mad. But like Tarantino, like what Joker did is because he made a movie with an extraordinary amount of money with no oversight and no audience screenings and no like producers butting in, and he made it a bad movie that nobody likes and nobody saw. So like that's killing the idea of you just get a guy to do his thing.
Yeah.
As a director, you let the artist work. Like this, that's you know, anything with that budget now is going to have, you know, producers and money people looking over the director's shoulder like a vulture ready to pick apart the corpse.
Yeah.
But Tarantino isn't going to be subject to that because he's got one more movie left, supposedly. I reckon young Tarantino will be like, yeah, stick it to the man. And like now Tarantino's like, stick it to the man. I think middle era Tarantino where like maybe
Death Proof?
Yeah, maybe. I think middle era Tarantino might be like, why have you done this?
I also don't think
I won't get to make the Hamtastic 8 anymore.
I don't necessarily think it was a fuck you. I don't think he was intentionally trying to upset people. I think he was just like, I'm right, and you'll all see.
Right.
But then...
he wasn't right.
People didn't like it.
He were wrong.
Except for us who loved it.
Well, it's not our money, is it?
Yeah. So there you go. Just men running about.
Like the Joker would.
Hustling.
That Joker, he was always running about, wasn't he?
Do you think he ran too much?
No, I don't think he ran enough.
Do you think he should have done laps of the courtroom?
Yes.
And a little jogging suit?
Yes.
Like a 1970s jogging
Yes.
suit? All right. Anyway, Mason.
Mm-hmm.
All right, speaking of Japan, because we were talking about Shogun earlier.
Oh, I see.
This is different. A new Godzilla film has been announced via Toho's official Twitter account. Nothing has been it has been greenlit. This is all we know. Takashi Yamazaki, who wrote, directed, and headed up the VFX on Godzilla Minus One, will return.
That's right.
To do all of the same things. Great.
I agree.
Good movie. Let's go. Give him unconditional oversight.
Yeah.
Let him do his Joker too, but it's a court case against Godzilla for all the crimes that he did.
Now, I guess the question here then will be, do we head in the more fantastical direction? Is it going to be Godzilla versus another monster?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be, Godzilla versus the
Godzilla grew his
Navy
head back
again?
and he's back.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, that's true. Is it good? Is the government going to build a Mecha Godzilla? What are we looking at here?
I think it's way too far away from Mecha Godzilla, but I think it might be we need Godzilla because there's a second thing happening.
Nice.
What do you think?
Yeah, potentially.
God, that's a good movie.
I agree.
We saw that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I remember seeing that one.
Oh yeah,
because it was good.
yeah.
It's good to
nice.
remember things that
Nice.
you like.
Francis Ford Coppola, if you're listening, maybe make a Godzilla. They
Do
would
in
like
real
it.
life, like in a lab?
Yeah, use
got
some
the
of your
money for
winery
it.
money.
Yeah,
You
he's
got
got-
enough left.
Yeah, you should do it. That would be cool. Great. This is genuinely good news.
I think so too.
That movie was incredible. And it looked incredible, and the destruction and the heart of it all, Mason, and men in a room being like, we're working together. We got to stop this Godzilla once and for all.
That's right.
What do they call it? Godzilla Minus 2? They
No.
go back another one?
I don't think so.
Godzilla Plus 1.
Maybe.
Godzilla Ground Zero.
Oh, not bad.
Godzilla Origins Rebirth.
Yeah, or potentially.
Godzilla versus Justice League, which I'm reading at the moment with my son.
Oh, yes.
It's good fun. Yeah. The comic.
Yeah.
Versus also King Kong.
What about Godzilla versus the people of Japan in court?
Yeah, like Joker 2.
Yeah.
I said that earlier. That's a joke that you have recycled.
No, I disagree.
Son of a bitch. Mine wasn't a joke. I meant mine. Mason, this is by THR. This is about striking when the iron is hot. Game of Thrones movie in development.
Absolutely.
You ready
why
for
not?
this?
Yeah, bring back.
Because you know it's the year 2017. You know that, don't you?
Currently, yes, it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. We're recording this as a little time capsule, and we're going to release it in 2024.
Yeah, we're gonna slip it into
or
that.
whenever they announce a Game of Thrones movie,
Which will be soon.
and it'll be red hot.
Yeah, it'll be around the year 2017
I
when
think
this
so.
goes in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Apparently, the studio has been quietly developing a film based on George
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah,
Shh, don't tell if they hear we're doing it, they'll tell us to stop.
they'll tell us to stop. It's based on George R. Martin's fantasy. Blah, blah,
His
blah.
fantasy.
They're looking...
Not his fantasy novels, just his fantasy.
No, just his fantasy. Just
Okay.
fantasy universe, it says.
Okay.
And HBO/Max and Warner Brothers are looking to increasingly cross-pollinate the company's big fantasy titles.
Love that.
That's good. Multiple sources are saying the project is in the very early stages of development with no filmmaker, cast, or writer attached. But the company is keen on exploring the idea of Westeros invading cinemas.
Uh-oh.
I think if they do this, it's going to be like Jon Snow forever or something like that. They're going to go back to like whoever they didn't kill in that original cast.
Not a lot of people.
Because there was going to be a Jon Snow series, which got killed. But that was happening at one point. That's cool.
Interesting, okay.
How are you feeling about this?
I mean,
As a big fan of Game of Thrones, and you've watched all of Game of Thrones, including the newest Game of Thrones.
I
How do you
haven't
feel
watched
about
newest
this?
Game of Thrones.
No?
No, you know that.
How many books you read?
No books. I've never read a book.
How many books you going to read?
I mean, I guess all of them.
You get to it.
I'll get to it. Fine.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Has the House of the Dragon show, has it
No.
revitalized the property in the minds of the
People
public?
don't like it.
Have they? What's the word I'm looking for? Not revitalized. Has it redeemed the opinion of Game of
The
Thrones?
second season was worse than the first one.
Oh,
First one was
no.
pretty well received. Kind of tread water. It seemed like it ended an episode early.
Okay.
For me personally, I don't like anybody in it, and I didn't like anyone in the original ones, and I've said this before, but in this one, it's like, do you think this guy with long blonde hair should kill this guy with long blonde hair? And I'm like, I don't care.
Interesting.
They should all kill each other.
So you do have an opinion.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
My opinion is they all kill each other and then the rest of the season plays out.
Sounds like a bunch of people with opinions would love a Game of Thrones movie.
I mean, we'll see it. And anything can be good or become good again.
So true.
Just look at Fast and Furious 5.
Yeah. So what would the plot be?
I think it's just Jon Snow's back. They've gone to get him because something has happened.
Okay. Where did he end up at the end of the line?
He ran into the woods like a coward.
Did he?
And then his brother, the computer who lived in a tree, became king forever.
Oh, computer brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Who's got all knowledge of time backwards and forwards and could live infinitely.
Cool.
Yeah. And he stabbed his girlfriend. He stabbed his girlfriend / aunt, remember?
Okay.
But he felt bad about it.
Yeah.
And then the dragon melted the Iron Throne.
I remember that bit. Yeah.
That was a metaphor.
Yeah.
It was a metaphor. Yeah. Wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I guess Kit Harington isn't Black Knight anymore, potentially. So.
No, not at the moment he isn't anyway. So there you go. Wow. Okay. Anyway, that's what I think they'll do. Or they'll do a different thing, but they'll do that. Great. Mason, maybe like they're doing a Dunk and Egg series. So maybe they'll spin off of that. Dunk and Egg. It's like a knight and his squire, whatever.
I do recall you constantly bringing up Dunk and Egg.
Constantly?
Yes.
That's rude.
It haunts my dreams, James. You're always talking about Dunk and Egg. Is it two guys?
I think it's Dunk and Egg.
Right.
I think.
Were they in the show?
No, they're having their own show.
This is a Tom Bombadil situation.
Sure.
The Game of Thrones equivalent of Tom Bombadil is Dunk and Egg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
All those dudes in Star Wars, Terry and Larry, who are always behind the scenes on things.
Oh.
What's the comic called? Tag and Bink or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Tag and Bink.
It's
okay, right.
Yeah.
It's Guildenstern and Rosencrantz are dead.
Whatever.
It's Timon and Pumbaa.
Whatever, nerd.
But it's Dunk and Egg.
Whatever, nerd.
All right, fine.
Speaking of Star Wars, trailers ahoy.
Honk.
It's
the 80s and it's Skeleton Crew,
it's
baby.
The Skeleton Crew.
I thought this looked fun.
I agree.
It's the Goonies, right?
It's the Goonies, it's E.T., it's the Navigator. It's Battle Across the... What's the one where you play computer games so well they let you do Star Wars for real?
Not Flight of the Navigator.
Fucking...
The
Battle Beyond the Stars? No,
maybe.
it's not that one.
Maybe.
People are yelling at us.
You play an arcade machine outside a bar or whatever, and then they adopt you into the Space Force or whatever.
Yeah, that one.
It's that one.
Don't email us. We do not care.
Correct. It's one more thing that will be inserted into my brain and push out something.
By the time you've heard this, we've figured it out or forgotten this conversation.
Correct.
So don't even worry about it. So yeah, it's very 80s inspired. I like the aesthetic. It's set 5 years after Return of the Jedi, which is the golden era
oh my God, yes,
of
please.
Star Wars. John Watts is, of course, heading this up, who directed the latest Spider-Man trilogy. Or should I say trilogy, Mason?
You shouldn't.
Should I say it?
No, you shouldn't. You'll go to jail if you say that.
No one's catching me.
No, man.
I'll take myself out, Mason.
You will?
I'll do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So tomorrow's newspaper, it'll be local podcast.
Thought the police were after him.
Because he said, he called the Spider-Man trilogy the Spider-Man trilogy.
And he threw himself up a building, yes.
Wow. And I think that's fair.
Yeah. The first episode is dropping December 3rd. I think there's a really good blend of like practical, it seems to be practical stuff and like, I know this is pretty basic to say, but like real sets and puppeteering and like, it looks real. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
I feel, and it's got a good kind of upbeat kind of 80s kind of adventure.
Yeah, and they're little troublemaker
little kid
kids
vibe,
and they uncover an old spaceship and they take it to Lightspeed and they end up somewhere. And it's sort of that. It's a really. I thought it was fun. It's the idea of the kids get in over their head and the parents are worried, but it's not just they're down. They haven't gone whitewater rafting and they're down at the end of the river or whatever. They've gone to Lightspeed.
They're anywhere.
They're anywhere in the galaxy. Yeah, I thought that was fun.
They could have flown into a sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. As mentioned, December 3rd, that's coming out. And then I just saw this trailer, Mason. It's for the movie Companion, which is directed by Drew Hancock, but this is being produced by Zach Kreger.
The barbarian
fella. Looks like spooky stuff,
He's a
Mason.
civilized man, by the way.
Who is?
He's not a barbarian fella.
Oh, he's not?
He directed Barbarian. He himself is not a barbarian, as far as I know.
Okay.
He does have a twisted mind, which to me is normal.
I've missed... What did they say?
Unhinged.
Unhinged mind. They're mixing it up. I like that a lot, Mason. I like that a lot. Let's have a look at the cast of this. So we got Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Megan Shuri, Rupert Friend. My God,
no
Mason.
Rupert Friend of mine.
I was going to say that, but he is actually a good friend of mine. So
Okay, so you were going to lie.
yeah, I didn't say it though, did I?
Okay.
It's all lies only lie if you say it.
So true.
Couldn't lie to him when I said I didn't like him in that Obi-Wan show.
Oh, wow.
I just didn't. I think he didn't capture the essence of what Jason Isaacs did in the TV show Rebels. There's no continuity there, Mason. It just felt wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you sure you can say that? Because I think I can hear police sirens. So you might want to take that back. Because I know you're going to overreact. I know you are.
That won't get me, Mason.
I know they won't. That's the problem. Wish they did.
There's that Jan 10, which isn't necessarily a bad thing anymore. Trailer looks really good.
Well, that's the thing. The trailer looks very interesting, and like Barbarian, you can't really tell what's going on.
No.
It seems to be, it could be two serial killers in a relationship. I think that's what I'm leaning closest towards.
Maybe, yeah.
Because it's pitched as sort of like, it's a sort of a meet cute, like the Notebook style kind of thing.
From the producers
But then
of the
they're
Notebook.
like, at different points, the two main characters, Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher, they're running from each other. They're setting each other on fire. They're smashing their hands in car doors. What's going on?
What is going on?
I don't know, but it's intriguing, isn't it?
I agree. Jan 10, check it out. And then we got a...
Oh, check it out. Are you being paid?
Check it out.
By the companion.
No, I'm good friends
theaters
with Rupert Friend.
Oh, yeah, that's
doing him a favour.
Okay. Wow.
Because of all that shit I said about the Star Wars thing that he
Okay.
did. I didn't like what he did with that. Trailers. I'm a fan before a friend, Mason.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Trailers ahoy also for there's a
Honk.
Marvel Disney Plus trailer for 2025.
Yeah, some good stuff in there, I thought.
I agree. So we got live action footage of Daredevil, Born Again, Ironheart, Wonder Man. We got animated stuff including Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Eyes of Wakanda, and Marvel Zombies.
Yeah. What do you want to tackle first? So, okay, the Spider-Man. The funniest thing about the Spider-Man trailer is so it's set sort of
but it's not MCU Spider-Man.
It's not MCU Spider-Man, but it's sort of set. If you had to place it in the MCU, it would be set before Peter Parker gets his cool, comic accurate suit. He's wearing makeshift gear.
Yeah.
But the funniest part about that is he's tackling a mugger or a bully or something like that, and he web swings a brick into the guy's head. That guy's dead. He
died.
Dead, man. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cops won't get him though.
Nah.
Yeah. So that's cool.
That is cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of animated stuff, there's Eyes of Wakanda, which is I'm not sure what that specifically was about. What is the?
That is about. It's like a time-spanning adventure where the agents of Wakanda have to go out into the world and get vibranium artifacts. They have to retrieve them
that's fun.
that have been like stolen or acquired, I guess.
That is fun.
First episode, the British Museum.
Hell yeah, brother!
They're gonna just demolish it.
I did recently visit that place, and my God, Mason.
Wow.
So they're also the Marvel Zombies thing. I think is not a continuation of the thing they already did. I believe it's like
What If?
Yeah, the What If thing.
Yeah,
I believe
right,
it's different. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I have a vague memory of that. But that's going to be out October of next year in time for Halloween.
Speaking of What If, there is the thing that springs out to me mostly. There was a sort of a Captain America Gundam style robot in there. Gundam style.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't catch that.
Okay.
Who's in it?
Maybe Captain America.
Cool. It's cool.
Or a Japanese guy. Yeah.
Japanese Captain America.
That's right.
Awesome. That's a very it's conflicting activity.
I was going to
during
say
a pivotal moment in history.
Oh, that's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Anyway, that's okay. There's a nuance there.
Somebody's getting executed for treason, and it's you.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
They'll never get me, Mason.
Okay, sure. Let's see what else.
Live action. Daredevil Born Again. Looks amazing.
Looking great, yeah.
It seems to me just from this trailer that they're hopefully doing more of the Daredevil swinging about shit that they didn't really do in the series. Because he can Spider-Man about.
Yeah.
Not as well as Spider-Man, but he can do it. He'll do it.
Yeah, and he does a little bit of that in She-Hulk, which looked cool, and it's exciting. We got the first appearance of a character called Muse, who's a...
News?
No, James, no.
We're in the news now.
Yeah, I know, James. God.
All right.
He's like a performance artist that uses murder. See this guy? He's
like
that's
a
serial
fun.
killer.
Is that new?
What do you mean? Like the character?
Yeah.
Is he new? Yeah, the last few
like
years.
news.
What are you even doing over there? What are you doing? You absolute goose.
It's a relatively new character, though. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like Banksy, but a murderer.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. No, I didn't see it in the trailer at all. I didn't even know about this character. Ironheart, of course.
Yeah. I like the new suit.
Me too. It's way better.
I'm not sure who she's building that with, but it does have the Iron
Anthony
Man.
Ramos.
Oh, he's the Hood in this.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the evil magic
he's
guy.
a bad guy. That's
That's
good.
exactly right.
Yeah.
The new suit has kind of that Iron Man 3. She can summon all the pieces to it.
Yes.
Which I think looked cool. And it's got like a more of a heavy-duty look to it.
Yes.
You know.
Would you say industrial?
I would say pretty kind of industrial. Like her hands don't quite reach the hands of the suit. Like
yeah, okay. Gotcha.
They're within the forearms. I thought that was a cool look. Like it's more of a Waldo kind of look.
Oh yeah, man. I like that a lot. And then, of course, we've got a look at... So it's Wonder Man.
Wonder Man.
Starring Yahoo Abdul Mateen II, who was also recently Black Manta, but also Dr. Manhattan, but
Correct,
also
yes.
better things. No, he was a good Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
This seems to be a world where he is an actor who's going for the role of Wonder Man, but I guess then he becomes the real Wonder Man.
I'm guessing that is what
That
happens.
seems to
Yeah,
be what's going
it's
on.
so yeah, and we
And
also,
Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley is in it as Trevor Slattery. So yeah, it looks so. In this, Simon Williams is it's my guess would be it's in the regular Marvel universe, and you know, in the wake of there being so much superhero stuff, there are superhero TV shows and movies and things like that, and somebody's come up with Wonder Man, and he is auditioning for the role of Wonder Man, and then somehow gains those abilities, or maybe he doesn't. Maybe this is like a because there's just
wouldn't that be cool?
There's just a lot of them running around.
That is true.
Panicked running around.
We got to get to the audition or whatever.
So maybe there is no superhero twist to this. It's got a very the logo was quite like family ties.
Right.
You know
okay.
what I mean? It had that kind of
okay.
family sitcom style to it. So yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's going to be that Michael Chiklis, My Family Are All Superheroes show. It's be like that. That was a good show, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't a good show. I didn't watch it. Guess when this is out?
Tomorrow.
December
Whoa.
of next year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's ages away.
Yeah.
You've ruined my life.
Thank you.
Cops will never get me.
No, they shouldn't. Don't let them. I'm with you, man.
Because I've never done any crimes. So
okay.
Yeah.
I mean
that doesn't always help.
No, you can always be framed.
Yeah,
or they could just get you by accident.
They could just get me by accident. It's true.
Cool, man. Should we move it along?
Let's move it along.
All right. On a budget of $45 million, the movie Here, the latest from tech demo from Robert Zemeckis. It's not doing super well.
Okay.
Box office return on this is 5.1 US million opening, which is not great. Before I ask you what the story was, I need to know, because the last Robert Zemeckis movie that we both saw, but actually I think from memory I didn't end up seeing, was the movie Pinocchio.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
And is this a situation where I saw the movie Here and then you didn't see it?
No, because I'm a man of honor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gave me that option, I think, a week ago. You're like, you can just not see it. I'm like, no, I'm going to see it.
That's cool.
Because I'm not a low dog.
There was a lot of people in my theater.
Really?
I mean, I was the youngest by about 40 years.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people in there.
There was a lot of older couples, I think, in my cinema also. Yeah.
That's nice.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Some.
Yeah, cool.
4.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
What do you think the story was?
Oh, all right. Okay, so...
Unless you got me, in which case you got me. And we're even.
Okay.
You got me. And we're even.
No, we're nowhere close to being even.
You'll never take me alive, mate.
We'll see. All right, so it's a movie set entirely within a living room.
Yeah.
But over the span of 1 million years.
Probably more.
More than millions. Tens of millions of years.
Tens of millions of years.
Because at the start, there's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
There's dinosaurs in this spot, and then they leave.
Yeah.
They're asked to leave by Tom Hanks.
It's crazy that, like, this room had a perfect view of where the comet hit.
Yeah, it was really close,
but also
wasn't it?
Ben Franklin's brother lived there also or something.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
I mean, what
it's wild.
But, you know, sometimes...
Could have been pointing in any direction.
Yeah, but there was just...
The meteor hit.
Just luck, I guess.
Just
It
luck.
doesn't make you think that maybe in every front room there'd be more boring things happening.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe if you looked at any other like living room around the world from 65 million years into the past,
and upwards,
a lot of it would just be nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Just an infinite nothing. Also, you'd think that because of like undulating kind of the way that the Earth moves over time, that it wouldn't even be the same level the entire time.
That's so true.
You know?
It's possible that
it'd be underwater.
It's
and
possible
shit.
that this location was chosen by Robert Zemeckis as a filming location because it did have the dinosaurs and the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs and Ben Franklin's house.
Yeah.
but the story of the people within was actually not that interesting.
That was the worst part.
Yeah. And,
that's what I got.
Potentially, maybe like if you filmed from another place, the human drama would be really exciting and cool. And
you might
fun.
get like
Sexy.
Full House,
Family Matters,
Fuller House.
Yeah, Family Ties could have been set
Step
there.
by Step.
Step by Step could have been there. Perfect Strangers.
Blossom.
Perfect Strangers with Balky Bartokomous.
Yes, that's a good one. Yeah,
from wherever he was from.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there would have been no, apocalypse view of the dinosaurs all exploding.
No, there wouldn't have been.
Anyway, it starts out in the back in the olden times.
Yep.
And then it sort of moves forward to the present-ish day, and then we get a series of somewhat interconnected stories of families living in this home over various eras, from sort of like the Benjamin Franklin era to like the present day.
But the main storyline really focuses around Tom Hanks and Robert Wright Penn.
Yes.
Robin, I think it's just Robin Wright now.
She's just Robin right now. Yeah.
She
finally met Sean Penn, and she's like,
not for me.
Not anymore, no thank you.
They so it's basically their story from becoming teenagers to an elderly.
Yeah. I mean, we get
couple.
the at a certain point, their house is purchased by Paul Bettany.
Yep.
And Paul Bettany's wife, the actor I did not recognize, but we'll look her up
I
momentarily.
remember her from things.
And they have a son in the form of Thomas Hanks.
Yep.
And then he meets Robin Wright, and then it's sort of
Kelly Riley.
Oh, Kelly Riley.
She's in what the fuck's she in? She's in Yellowstone, and that's cool.
Oh.
Also, other things that I've seen more recently.
Terrifico.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
And it's their various sort of trials and tribulations, and it's got themes of kind of, love and loss and the cost of,
of doing business.
The cost of doing business and making big bucks.
Gotta make it.
What'll that do to you? What are you going to sacrifice, in terms of your potential to live a life that you can afford?
Yeah.
That being said, Paul Bettany does buy the house for like $3,500.
He does. Yeah, so, he really does.
And he's mad about it.
He really is.
Yeah.
It also feels, him in particular, it's like, it felt like WandaVision with him running in and out of the scenes.
Yeah. And,
at times.
But that being said, the people that own the house prior to him, he buys this 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, multi-level house with a garage and a basement or whatever for $3,400. But the previous owners of the house are like, oh, this is a shoebox. I don't want to live here.
It's wild. And I
think young people will take a different message from this movie, which is like, you kidding me?
I mean,
are you kidding me?
At the end, you see the house.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ. Like, you see the house in the neighborhood, and there's a lot of people complaining about this fucking house.
Right.
For the length of it. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
As said.
I think it'd be funny if they... Look, I'm not a spoiler really, but I mean, at the end of the movie, we leave these characters behind or whatever. Yeah. And I think it'd be funny if it panned out and it was like a space prison or something like that. It bears no record. We just assumed it was like a nice suburban area. We pan out and it's the city from Dark City.
You know what? Like... Okay, special effects wise, I didn't find it as jarring as I thought it would be.
No, I would say this though,
because there's like real time de-aging that they did like on set.
Right. Okay. Were they dots? Were they dots people?
Yeah,
on set,
I think so. It was like
dots and camera face.
Yeah, it's like maybe I don't know about that, but there's a pie, and there's also a lot of it is also makeup.
Yeah,
I would say there's probably more makeup than there is like actual de-aging in this.
So we see Tom Hanks's character as a child, but then the moment he sort of transitions to being Tom Hanks, and it's they've clearly taken the model data from like when he was in Big and in kind of Bosom Buddies, which was the TV series he did before he hit it big.
Before he was big in Sex and the City.
But here's the thing, that character's supposed to be like 17, 18, and he never seems younger than like 29.
No, absolutely not.
Like and he always sounds like adult, like present day Tom Hanks. So it never quite works.
I agree.
So
but it's more kind of like, it felt to me like when you see a stage play and you see someone age up and it's like clearly a 34-year-old person who's playing.
So this is based on a comic book or a graphic novel, as they would say.
Novel.
But has it ever been adapted as a stage play? I
don't believe so, but I don't know that.
But something that we all know, but I have to constantly remind myself, Robert Zemeckis, of course, directed the original He directed all three Back to the Future movies, undisputed classics, and a bunch of other stuff that people like. And then at a certain point, early 2000s?
It would have been...
Late 90s?
Beowulf, probably.
Yeah. He started working in kind of... The technology for motion capture became available.
Yes.
And he became very much on the train of like, these aren't really movies, they're experimental. Or like they're like you said, they're tech demos. It's a lot. It's he's trying.
It was Polar Express. Sorry, it was 2004.
It was Polar Express.
Yeah.
Right. So I googled because I was very curious about this. I'd not thought about it before. We've talked a lot about the concept of the uncanny valley.
Yeah.
The idea of if an inanimate object has like human-like features, you go, oh, that's pretty cute. That's a cute thing. It's like, like an R2-D2 or a C-3PO. You go, that's pretty cool, whatever. But as an inanimate object or a creature in fantasy or sci-fi starts to look too much like a human being, but not quite.
Yeah.
We all start to kind of feel like
we hate it.
We kind of feel unpleasant.
We hate it.
We hate it. And I was curious, has anybody done an interview with Robert Zemeckis and been like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Do you not? Because some people can't see it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like, has anyone talked to Robert Zemeckis and said, do you know that a lot of this looks unpleasant? Like, especially the Polar Express stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff in Beowulf.
Yeah.
The Scorpion King, which he didn't have anything to do with, but I blame him for that.
He did it.
Yeah, he did it.
We know he did it.
So I Googled.
I mean, a lot of that stuff is, because it's pioneering technology, which has then gone on to do better things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't even know whether that's a direct result of the work that he's done, because there are multiple companies like working on these things at any one time.
James Cameron, Avatar, like
exactly,
it's similar technology. So I came up with two articles. This one is from cartoonbrew.com from 2009, but it's based on a National Geographic article.
Okay.
And the article is entitled "Even Monkeys Hate Robert Zemeckis." And an article in National Geographic discusses the results of an uncanny valley test on monkeys. Researchers showed monkeys 3 versions of a monkey on a monitor. One video of a real monkey, one stylized CG model, and one realistic uncanny valley animated monkey. The research suggests that given the choice, monkeys prefer to look anywhere other than at a realistic fake monkey. So like even primates are like, oh.
No. There is that theory that there was something at one point that looked kind of like us. There was
I see, right. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't take much stock in that.
No.
But I think it's just a thing where humans don't like things that look upsetting.
No,
I think
for
that's
sure.
probably the
But anyway, what I did, there's also a Time magazine article from like a couple of days ago.
Time,
exactly. Who says the de-aged versions of Hank and Wright are admittedly a little disorienting, especially at first, but Zemeckis has long been a proponent of performance capture and other digitally advanced technology, bristles at the suggestion that audiences might think of Hanks and Wright's appearance as uncanny. He hates that word. The only reason people might have that response, he says, is because they know they're seeing a movie illusion. He explains that the effect is nothing more than digital makeup. He finds the results perfect and perfectly believable, given how much de-aging technology has improved since Martin Scorsese used it in The Irishman in 2019.
I'm sorry, you don't get to make that decision. Like, I know you made the film, but you don't get to tell people
that it's perfect
and that they have to be okay with, and actually they're wrong for thinking.
De-aging in here was accomplished by an AI technology known as Metaphysic Live. But here's the thing as well. I think the issue again with The Irishman, again, it wasn't that the faces didn't look.
No.
It was, and it's the similar thing here. It's that De Niro moved like an old man when he was supposed to be a young man, and he sounded like an old man even though he was a young man. And it's a similar thing here.
Yeah.
But when pressed to acknowledge that some viewers might find that very perfection unsettling, Zemeckis concedes that the effect might require a small leap of imagination.
Okay.
It's an intellectual exercise. An audience might be going, oh, how can that be? I know they're not that age, but test audience, he says, weren't overly bothered. They quickly got over it. And while he acknowledges that unchecked AI presents a danger to actors' livelihoods, he considers the technology used in here to be completely defensible from an artistic standpoint. AI is just a catch-all phrase. Yeah, that's fair.
That is true.
Yeah. But what I'm doing is just using really fast computing to create digital makeup. I'm not creating any kind of avatar or anything.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
But,
I also don't think it's that bad. I also don't think it's in it that much. And also, a lot of time when they're de-aged, they're not right up close. There's only a handful of times when you see Tom Hanks and Robin Wright right up at the camera.
Yeah, Robin right up at the camera.
Robin right up in your face.
Yeah. So again, to be clear, if the camera doesn't move.
No.
There's some creative things sort of involving panels, which I think probably was done in the graphic novel, which I haven't
so
read.
you can kind of see through time almost.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll see, you know, the main part of the screen. It's what's happening in the present day, and then you'll see a snippet from the 50s or the 60s or what have you. There's also in addition to the story of, you know, Paul Bettany, Tom Hanks, Robin Wright, etc., there's also some subplots involving different families at different times. There's a sort of a Native American storyline from, you know, pre-colonization of America. There's
a modern day family. There's a modern family.
There's very much a modern family.
Which doesn't get enough play to be interesting, I feel.
No, and there's a family that owned the house before Paul Bettany, and one of them, the husband wants to be a pilot.
Oh yeah, there's that, and there's an easy boy guy.
Yeah, there's a guy who invents the lazy boy. Boy, a lot of stuff happened in this house.
I agree.
The guy
meteor hit.
Yeah, a guy who looks a lot like Josh Gad.
Yes,
and his wife are they're in the 40s, and they're just like they're living a wild life and they're just loving life.
Yeah, they're having the best time.
They're having the best time. He's inventing a lazy boy. They're just dancing and drinking.
The thing about this movie as well is like, I know there's like a Forrest Gumpiness in terms of like an earnestness that exists.
Oh, yeah, Zemeckis directed
Forrest
that
Gump
as well.
Also, yes. That feather, I think, broke his brain, and he just went CGI stuff forever.
Yeah, right.
He'd done CGI before and around that. But I feel this movie, I actually did find it pretty effective at times.
Yeah, you said it got you.
It did fucking get me in moments. But I think what got me really was like the direness of it. Like there's this kind of feeling of like wasted potential and being trapped.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that,
and I don't know whether that's intentional.
No, it definitely is. But I
no, as a message though, overall at the end.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. So I didn't think it was overwhelmingly so, but like the theme is certainly there. Like Tom Hanks's character, he always wanted to be a graphic artist or a graphic designer. Yeah. But you know, his father was in the war, World War II. And he
was Paul Bettany.
He was Paul Bettany, and he, you know, had some, you know, traumatic experiences and has led to him drinking, and he just wants his son to get a job to, you know, pay the bills because that's important. And so, you know, Tom Hanks, as he grows, he gets Robin Wright pregnant when they're teenagers, and so he has to sort of give up his dream of being an artist to get a job.
Yeah,
selling whatever
his dad did, basically.
Selling vacuum cleaners or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and also, you know, Hanks's character is sort of, he's obsessed with getting by and not
just good. It's like, this is good enough. He's like everything's fine, everything's good enough kind of thing.
Whereas Robin Wright's character wants to get out of this house,
not live in the same house for her entire life.
Yeah, exactly, and do things and travel the world. And she's had to give up because she's, you know, they had kids early and they married. You know, they married and they're living in this house because it's cheaper. And she wanted to travel the world, but it's just, you know, they're now kind of stuck there, you know.
And it becomes kind of that. Should we do some spoilers?
Yeah, look, I would say best movie ever.
I was surprised that I didn't hate it.
Yeah. I think, again, if you, like, I mean, I guess Zemeckis was right in this instance. Once you get over the fact that 18-year-old Tom Hanks doesn't really look or sound 18.
He's also not in it that much.
No, it's mostly, the timeline sort of bounces around a little bit. But, yeah, predominantly, you get used to that, and it's, I think it was surprisingly moving, you know, and some good themes.
I agree. I think it was surprisingly moving in moments. I think also, like, we're in spoilers, the idea of this man, like, living in fear, like dragging people down around him.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Which is what it kind of becomes, because, spoiler alert, they end up separating. Yeah. And what I found so dire about this, and this is...
That's Tom Hanks and Robin
Wright,
because she has always, again...
She's like, can I do anything else?
Yeah, she's and I understandably, like...
Also, they have, like, one kid in, like, the 80s. Like, they were clearly financially, like, capable to do
but like you said, Tom Hanks is obsessed with, like, because he essentially inherits the house from his...
Not even the 80s, like the 60s.
Yeah, something like that. He inherits the house from his family, and then he's like, well, we could just live, you know, we'll just live here, and, you know, but she's like, everything's always the same, you know, and he's like, well, if we sell the house, you know, the taxes on that alone, and she's like, well, you're obsessed with taxes.
Yeah.
And,
you nerd.
Yeah.
So at the end, like, it's very, like, there's a moment where she's like, I forgot where I was. And it's like, oh, she has Alzheimer's. And that's basically what it ends up being. So this whole movie builds up to her being like, I fucking hate this house and I need to get away from you. And she does. And then it cuts forward, like, 10 years after the last time they meet, where he tries to make another play to get back together.
Well, does he?
I think he does, because he has that fortune and he's like, an old love will come back. And she's like, nah. And then it cuts forward 10 years where they revisit the house when they're very old and she's mostly gone.
Yeah.
And she's like, I remember this house. I love it here. And to me, it was like, that's so...
And that's the name of the movie,
Yeah,
she said.
yeah.
I know that. I'm the only one who's self-aware.
That's so sad.
Yeah, no,
To be
absolutely.
like, the only reason that you... like, because you spent so much time here that your brain... It's like one of the few things that you could recognize as your brain is like misfiring itself to death.
Yeah,
I think it was supposed to be this like beautiful moment of well, actually what they had together here was important. And not that it isn't. It felt like, it just felt sad.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
So
yeah.
But I don't know, maybe that was the intention. In which case, well done.
Yeah, I mean, now you've brought that to my my attention. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I generally felt it was kind of like, yeah, it is sort of the moral of it is, to the extent there is one.
Take a chance, man.
Take a chance, maybe. That's this kind of, the fact that they're there at all is a miracle because that asteroid landed.
It is a miracle. Yeah. And the whole thing is like, everything is a miracle. Like, even if your life sucks, it's still a miracle that any of us are here. I'm not saying that for good or ill.
Right.
But it's a
And you are saying the cops will never get you.
They can't get me, Mason.
Yeah.
They can't get me before I get on a roof. But... What was I going to say? Okay, so here's an example, right, that I think is relevant to this. Claire's doing music, right? People know this.
I've heard about it.
And she's working with this producer, and he tells this story about how like people wait their entire life to finally do music and do their passion. So they might work as something they don't necessarily like in insurance or accounting.
I say take your passion and make it happen.
Sure, I don't disagree with that. Well, that's kind of the point of this, to skip ahead.
Okay.
But basically they come in...
This guy sounds pretty predictable if you ask me.
I agree. But they come in at like 65 and they're like, I'm ready to do music.
Right.
And so they'll record something or they'll try something out and they've got this idea of what they want it to be. And because they're a fan of music and have been listening to music like their entire life, when they hear it back for the first time, there's this real shock that it's bad.
Right, yeah.
And it's bad because they haven't been working on this craft the entire time. And it's apparently a really kind of, it's quite a confronting thing to witness somebody realize that they've not wasted, but they've left something pretty late in the day.
Yeah, if I'd started this 30 years ago, I'd be quite good now.
And it is possible to
I could be the guy from the Rolling Stones.
You could be Rolling Stones.
I could be Flea from the Rolling Stones.
You could be Flea. And so... I guess, I'm not saying that everybody should quit their jobs and do exactly what they need to do. But like I think that what I took from this was like, and like stories like that is, you need to at least take a shot at something, even if it's, even if you think it's not going to work out. Even if you're a big idiot and you don't know what you're doing.
That's right. Yeah.
Which we can all attest to here at the Weekly Planet podcast.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just found I found it really sad.
Yeah.
Honestly. And there were heartwarming moments, but that's what I took from it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I think even though it was, there was bittersweet, there was melancholy, but I like there were a bunch of moments where they're just like they've got their own, kind of secret language, and they've got their own,
totally
little things that they do,
and their daughters, like they built this life for their daughter who just like is doing incredible things and all of this stuff. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Great stuff.
Robin Wright has that breakdown.
And she has that breakdown. On her 50th birthday.
Yeah. But then she goes and she does stuff.
Yeah, she leaves Tom Hanks. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, great stuff. Anyway, is that it, I guess?
That's the whole thing, I think.
Let's talk about another thing then.
Let's talk about another thing.
All right, so we've just talked about our passion project, the movie Here.
That's right.
Which we love and support and funded.
Yep.
And we're not going to make any money on that. We're going to be making negative money.
We're ruined.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to pursue my passion, making an album at 65, which is a shame. But that's the way life goes, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
We rolled the dice,
yeah.
which is what the movie is maybe about.
That's right, yeah.
Anyways, Mason, Agatha All Along. It's the latest MCU entry. Mm-hmm. What number? Irrelevant. Here's some ratings instead of box office.
Yep.
The first week on Disney Plus, it was something like 9.3 million views, but by episode 7, it was up 35%.
It was up.
It built.
That's a rarity.
Built as it went.
Yeah.
Another advantage of this show, aside from the fact it's good and people watched it, is that it's cheap. The whole thing cost $40 million. Huh. The Acolyte cost $180 million.
An hour, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. And the Acolyte is probably not as good as this by quite a large factor.
Interesting.
Like if you think of a big number, it's probably that and maybe a bit more.
Wow.
This was actually quite good. What do you think the story was?
Oh, come on, mate. All right. As we've recapped in the past, Agatha Harkness, post WandaVision, was trapped by Scarlet Witch's evil spell.
Oh yeah,
and she thought she was a small town detective, police detective.
That's true.
But then the spell is broken.
It broke,
and she's like, I've lost my witch powers.
I'm broke.
Yeah, that's right. And she sets out.
I got to get back on the stock market.
Exactly. And she meets Teen. She meets a teen.
Yep.
Who's all
ooh.
He's all like that.
I got something going on.
Yeah,
but what is it?
I'm a mysterious teen. I got something going on. And she's like, I got to get my powers back, so we're going to walk the witch's road.
Yeah.
And it's a mystical realm where you walk the road, you face various challenges, and when you get to the end of the road, you get whatever you wish.
And it's a metaphor and whatever, but also you have to walk a road.
You have to walk a road, but you need a coven to that. So she goes and collects some other witches and a nice lady.
Yep.
A nice old lady who's the lady from that 70s show.
That's right.
And
it was also in WandaVision.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, then they go along this road, and every episode they end up in a different room. And in each room, it's a fun themed room. It's a series of escape rooms.
Yeah.
It's a series of escape rooms.
I was worried early on that I don't know if I think I'm going to get sick of all these different rooms.
Sure,
but I didn't.
Interesting.
Because there's some flashback episodes and bits and pieces along the way that mix it up. Now, look, before this came out, I remember us being like, "This is too late." This Agatha All Along, this joke from like 4 years ago.
It's based on the popularity of a novelty song.
Yeah,
from
so far back.
Yeah, right.
That being said, really good.
It's pretty good. I would say of the three current superhero properties that are only barely based on superhero stuff,
Penguin,
the Penguin and Joker 2.
Yeah.
This is easily the second best.
Wow.
After Joker 2. Just kidding.
You forgot Venom 3. Which also came out.
But that's directly based on Venom, isn't it?
Oh, loosely.
I'm saying barely based on anything.
Is Venom 3 based on Venom?
Not really. Not really. But I mean, as superhero properties that don't really have any superheroes in them.
Yeah.
This is up there. And I think it's probably partially because they have the freedom to not base it on directly on a pre-existing Marvel storyline.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I understand. Huh.
Good cast of characters. Catherine Hahn, obviously.
Yep.
She can do drama. She can do big scenery chewing comedy.
She does it all.
She does it all. Yeah, and well.
I'm proud of her.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first episode,
go on.
Mason Collins, there's a big pause there. You could take all of that out or double it.
Double it.
Is that
double it and add a weird hum, so the listeners think something is wrong with them.
I said this when it came out, and it felt very much like because it was a fake kind of True Detective style show that she's stuck in or whatever, and like that it's a fake world and whatever, because it's just WandaVision again. And I thought, okay, can we just break out of this to get to the thing?
Okay, sure.
And I think after that happens, it's like, this becomes much more interesting. And there are a number of like twists and turns along the way, which make it. I think a lot of the times when there's twists in things, and I guess we can compare it to The Acolyte, it's like they don't pay off, or you know what it is already.
Yeah, right.
Whereas there's some stuff along the way where you're genuinely like, oh shit.
I mean,
changes everything about this.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
There is the one, and I guess we're in spoilers already.
Yes.
Because it's bloody free on your television, so you can just get it. The teen, I think everybody knew that he was going to be.
Oh yeah, that
Billy
was
Maximoff.
But that's not the twist of this.
No, that's true.
You're
absolutely
many things
right,
that kind of happen along the way. But the cast is great. Catherine Hahn's amazing. She does do the first Marvel nude butt on television.
Whoa!
Because Chris Hemsworth, I think, did it already.
That's correct. Yes.
But who did it better? Depends what you like.
Guess that's true, isn't it?
Depends what you like, Mason. But the cast.
Well, I don't like depravity.
No.
No.
So you didn't like this?
No.
But the cast is amazing as well. Just all compelling characters with their own backstories, which are kind of loosely kind of tied to each other. Also, it turns out that most of them have been slighted in some major or minor way
by Agatha. She's spent the last 100 odd years being awful.
Just being the worst.
Yeah.
And there is explanations behind like her motivations, but this is not like a redemption arc of this character.
You think it might be, but then woof.
But then she has a gun. She robs that bank.
That's right.
Yeah, which is pretty good. But just like the pace of it, I think works so well in terms of just the idea. Because it's not framed as a mystery initially outside of who this boy is, which you know.
Yes.
But it is revealed to, I think, the passing out of like information where it's like, it's a very kind of rewarding kind of
Absolutely,
payoff.
yeah. Like, we know he is almost certainly Billy Maximoff, but first of all,
should we explain the Billy Maximoff thing? Do people know that already?
The one of the sons of
the Scarlet Witch.
The Scarlet Witch.
Who disappeared, who wasn't real and disappeared after the big incident in WandaVision. Because he was a fake boy.
Well, exactly, yeah. But in other realities, he was a real boy.
He was a real boy.
In fact, in the WandaVision reality seems to be the only one where he wasn't a real boy.
Yeah.
But what happened? The body that he is in was a teen who was being driven past Westview when Scarlet Witch's spell was broken.
Yeah.
And then he was killed in a car crash, and then the spirit of Billy Maximoff goes into that body and. I know.
And then all that, et cetera, and so forth. Yeah, I like all of that. He's good as well. He's also from Heartstopper,
all right,
which is a good show, which I haven't watched season 2 of. But I will, and you cannot stop me, Mason.
The cops
don't make me get my really long ladder in case of emergencies.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. The song is amazing also. There's a recurring song in this.
Yeah.
About the Witch's Road,
You think it's only going to be in the first episode, but then it's in most episodes.
And it's a good thing that it's a good song.
Yeah.
And they played like different varieties of it throughout the entire
They did
thing.
it live as well. Did you see that?
No.
They did it in New York Comic Con or something like that.
Did
It was
they really?
the entire cast came out and did it.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
We should go to New York Comic Con every year. You don't think so?
Nah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I want to do spoilers.
Okay.
It's good. The only thing you probably need to see is WandaVision and I guess Doctor Strange 2.
Yes, I guess so, yeah. Uh-huh.
You have to be a big Marvel fan of this, do you think, to see this?
No.
Yeah.
In fact, I think that's probably why it's done so well.
Because it's good
in
outside
terms
of that.
In terms of viewership, because it may just be people who liked WandaVision, who liked the novelty of that, and who weren't overly invested in the Marvel universe as a whole. And were like, okay, I like this. I like the premise, and I like the drama, and I like the...
I don't want to see Hulk.
Exactly. Or Thor's butt.
Yeah.
And just people who've been hanging out for this.
I think we've seen Hulk's butt also.
We have seen
the CGI butt. That doesn't count.
That's so true.
Best show ever. I liked it a lot.
I think so too.
I think a lot of people have said that like the last episode feels like an extended post-credits. That's like, no, which I understand.
Okay,
I
sure,
guess.
absolutely, yeah.
Because it does kind of wrap up at episode 8. And then it ramps up a little bit.
That's true, yeah.
That final episode. Again, best show
Okay,
ever.
So in terms of big spoilers, what do we got? I mean, the biggest spoiler, I think, is probably that the road's a big trick.
It's not a real thing. Well, it is in this, but it's not.
It's Agatha's. It was Agatha all along. It
was.
turns out, that it was her. It's a mechanism by which she's been stealing other witches' powers for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
She created this myth that it's a mission to that gets you your heart's desire. But what she basically does is she joins a coven to go on this trip, and then she annoys them so much they try to kill her. At which point she steals all their powers.
Yep.
That's cool.
And she does that a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
And she does that using a song that her son and her used to sing together. She has a son in this who was going to die. So it seems as if, though it's not explicitly stated, that she has courted death to maybe even to kill witches for death, who's played by Aubrey Plaza, who plays Death and also a Green Witch.
Yes.
This isn't explicitly said. This is what I took from it.
Uh-huh.
And to keep her son alive. But eventually that stops.
Yes.
Working or stops. Or Aubrey Plaza's just like, I'm just going to take this dude.
Yeah.
He's mine now.
Yeah,
and whatever.
Yeah.
And so she just becomes this serial killer for like hundreds and hundreds of years to like prolong her life and become terrible. And it's also what she was doing in this.
Yes.
She gathered this coven of witches to get her powers back. But because he's Billy Maximoff and he has like reality-altering powers, he made the Witch's Road real and all the trials and everything that's kind of going on within it. So so there is when you.
I wonder if there's if you were to do a rewatch, there's a lot of reaction shots of Agatha going, damn.
I think there is. I
didn't see this. I didn't see this coming.
There's
honestly,
a few like flashbacks and like where you like of actual footage in it and just like looks of surprise and like you can see she's kind of just winging it because she's also never done this thing before because it hasn't existed. And then there's a 7-star reveal when he goes to his room and it's literally just like mapped out what they ended up doing. Apparently, because as the trials go on, they become more and more bare bones. They're kind of quite elaborate, and one you might have to sing a song and whatever and do various things. And then at the end, the last one is just like, I don't know, in a steel room.
Yeah, that's right.
And apparently
some lights are going out.
Yeah, apparently that's just like a subconscious thing of Billy being like, because he doesn't know he's doing this.
Yeah, right.
I'm sick of doing this, and I'm actually killing people along the way.
Yeah. Okay.
And
they should insert that character or that character trope into just most Marvel movies.
sick of
as they
this.
get less and less interesting, you go, there was a guy actually. There was a guy up the back, and he was doing all this with his mind. The Sentry was doing all this with his mind.
He did it with his mind.
And the fact that they were all just fighting in an empty room at the end is because he got sick of altering reality, actually. So it's actually your fault, the viewer.
It is.
You know.
It also makes sense in terms of like, because again, Aubrey Plaza plays Death. That Death is like mostly makeup.
Yeah.
It seems as well, which
Impressive.
is incredible. That's amazing. But because she ends up on the road with them, and she never really takes it seriously. So it's which makes sense because like she knows what this is.
Yes.
Nothing, and also she's Death, so it doesn't affect her. Regardless.
Yeah.
But just the idea also that like Agatha and the result of all of this is like killing her friends, or not really her friends, but like the people she's brought along the way. Like you mentioned, there's a regular woman that they bring into this who dies.
Yeah.
And I thought at some point they were going to like bring her back or something,
yeah.
or it was a trick, but no. A bunch of them just die as a result of like her actions. She's terrible. And at the end, they all shoot each other with electricity or whatever.
It's true, yeah.
And she becomes a ghost.
Yeah, we couldn't get out of this without everybody shooting each other with electricity, could we? Different colors of electricity.
Were you happy that Billy Maximoff wore his special Billy Maximoff uniform?
Yes, and I saw something on Twitter and I think this is a really good point. The MCU needs to get better at showing us people's new costumes and like, because they put so much work into these.
Yeah.
If you see behind the scenes or close-ups or production stills or whatever, all this stuff is incredible. They used to do it. Like in the first Iron Man, you get the big pan and scan around all of Iron Man's flaps and gaskets. You don't see anybody's flaps and gaskets anymore.
Not a single one.
You see Catherine Hahn's butt. It's not the same. It's a good look, but I mean,
I agree.
You never see the detail. You should do it. They should do it anime style, where like a guy gets a new look, and then it just we whip around it.
Yeah,
the
scarf and hood just like whip up and everything. Yeah, I don't disagree.
And so at the end, Agatha dies and she becomes a ghost.
Yeah,
and Billy's like, well, I'm going to do a big banish on you, but then he doesn't.
He doesn't do it.
Yeah. Because if he did a big banish on her, she'd see her son, and her son would get her, presumably.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you think her son will get her, or do you think there's like a shame with what she's been doing and she doesn't want to face him?
Probably both.
Probably both.
I mean, either he's going to be ashamed of her for all that murder, or he's going to eat her.
Yeah.
You don't want either of those.
Because he's a bear.
Yes, that's right.
I don't say that, but he's a bear.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he's a bear.
Mm-hmm.
So it does lead into like. They both go off on a little adventure at the end. There will be a season 2, or I think season 2. I don't think this is going to be a movie. I don't think they'll make that mistake of like what they did with the Ms. Marvel into the Marvels.
Yeah, right.
I think they're not going to assume that that audience crosses over.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, not even that the Marvels was a mistake, although it was certainly under marketed and I guess the mistake was like.
It didn't do well.
Yeah, and not heading off the hate campaign, I think.
Yeah, okay,
and et cetera.
And et cetera. And it also dropped at a very bad time.
Yeah.
For all of that.
Yeah.
But I think also they underestimated the popularity and the crossover between the television and the movies.
They overestimated it.
Sorry. Yeah. And maybe they should have just called it Captain Marvel too.
Maybe.
I don't know. Also, Scarlet Witch was never in this. I thought she was going to show up, but she's not. She's not in it. She's not in it at all. They see her body, but it's not really her and whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. All in all, good. I liked it.
Pretty good. Should
we move to the next segment of the show?
Let's move to the next segment of the
show. What is it?
It's what we're reading.
What?
What are you going to read?
How?
We'll say it with words.
All right. I'm doing the thing. What are we reading today? Yeah, all right. Well, it's Halloween, Mason, or it was. It's the spookiest time of year, and I'm not just talking about tax time.
Should we have watched or read some spooky stuff?
I did watch The Substance.
Oh, what'd you think? It
was good.
Just good?
No, it was really good.
Okay. What are you doing over there? What game are you
it's
playing
It's
a
good movie. I really enjoyed it.
It is a good movie, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to elaborate?
Yes.
It was like,
right,
what's
exactly.
Going on? What's real?
Yeah, that's so true.
Youth, beauty.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
That's probably about it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good, yeah. I mean, look.
No, it was incredible.
Well, that's the thing also, because I watched it at a sort of advanced screening.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known anything.
Well, the Melbourne International Film Festival, so it's like a crowd that's rare. It's like a big crowd, and everybody's raring to go kind of thing. Yeah. I think it was good, but obviously, when you're out in that zone, it's different from when you watch it.
Oh, no, it was amazing. Like, it was very Cronenbergian. And
we've also reached the point where, like, the movies had like an advanced release and then a general release, and so there's reactions to it, and then there's backlash to the reactions and backlash to the backlash and whatnot.
And then I watched it.
And then you've seen it.
You seem like you're trying to persuade me that I liked this movie when I did like it a lot.
Interesting. Yeah. That's really, you should like it though, I think.
I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
No, it was very good.
Yeah.
Performances were great. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to spoil it here if you haven't seen it, but if you're if you can handle a bit of gore, a fair bit of body horror.
Yeah. It's mostly sort of comedic.
It is. I would agree with that.
Bit of fun. Good bit of fun. That would be a good Halloween movie. I know some people, there's some good Halloween costumes to be had in there.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
I reluctantly recommended to somebody the other day. They're like, what's good at the moment? And I'm like, what have you seen? I'm like, I saw The Substance.
Yeah.
And they're like, was it good? I'm like, it was great. I don't know, do you like body horror? And this person was like, I love it. Okay. Which I wasn't expecting. And I'm like, then you're going to fucking love this.
Yeah, right.
Like, you're going to have the time of your absolute life.
Yeah. Some great cocaine acting from Dennis Quaid.
Oh, my God. Yeah. And he's also the president in that other movie. I'm the president from the 80s, Ronald Reagan.
Oh, yeah, right.
Terrible Reagan biopic.
Yeah, there's that interesting confluence of actors there. Also, Sebastian Stan is both Donald Trump in The Apprentice, and he's in A Different Man, which is that movie. They're both out at the same time. I should see A Different Man. I've heard that's very good. It's him and Adam Pearson.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Stan plays a man who has a sort of a facial disfigurement, and then he gets surgery to look like Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
And then he meets...
Should have picked Chris Evans.
Yeah, I was going to... Yeah. Right. And then he meets Adam Pearson's character who has that syndrome in real life, who's constantly...
Whatever, I'm cool.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's a bit of fun. I should see that, I think.
Yeah. But what I really want...
Sebastian Stan's making some good choices.
I completely agree. Very
around
stuff.
Marvel. I think a lot of it's... I think that's great that a lot of...
I think Adam Driver is similar with Star Wars.
I appreciate that they've, and I think in a lot of cases it is deliberate. It's... I will use the push and the pull.
I will use
I've
the
got
tools at my disposal.
Exactly. Then I'll expose people to something weirder.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cool.
Exactly. Yeah. I also watched the first 2 episodes of the Australian The Office.
I watched the first one.
Okay.
Did we talk about?
We haven't here.
Okay, right. Let's talk about it.
I will say it's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Okay, great.
It's not great.
Yep.
And I think there is definitely room for this to get better.
Yeah.
From the 2 that I've seen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into bat for this, so I don't want people to take this as like a sterling endorsement, because I have my criticisms, and here is one of them.
Okay.
I think a lot of the dynamics between the characters are strange.
Okay.
Like, in particular, the one that kind of stood out to me is the Jim character is this enormous man.
It's Steen Raskopoulos.
Yes.
He's a stand-up comedian, improviser.
And
funny guy.
I agree, he's very funny, but the Dwight in this is a much smaller and seemingly autistic woman. And
she wears like sort of mannish suits, but they sort of swallow her up.
Yeah.
So she's small and she seems even smaller.
It feels threatening.
It feels
like it doesn't feel like he's like getting back at this person.
Yeah,
it just feels like he's being mean.
A big but I mean, wasn't Jim being mean?
Yes,
a lot of
he
the
was.
time?
But I think the difference is they're both
Dwight can punch him.
Dwight can punch, or sort of. There is this kind of. There's like it's just different.
Yeah,
you're different.
You're doing the attempting to justify something with the big hands in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, look.
And I know maybe part of it is that like he's a giant man and she's not.
Well, So
I mean, Jim sucks also from the original Office. Like that's obvious.
It's interesting that these shows all have to have the same dynamic the original had Tim and Dawn and
Jim
David
and Pam
Brent
and whatever.
And the American one has Jim and Pam. So they've clearly gone, well, there's an Australian version. It must have the Jim and Pam relationship and the kind of the David Brent boss who's like wacky and he thinks he's everybody's friend and etc. in the form of Felicity Ward in this one, who again I think is doing a good job.
She's great.
But again, it's interesting to me that this isn't even the second remake of The Office. There's been a bunch of others.
Yeah.
But I think the difference may be that if you do a German The Office or like the Indian The Office or whatever it is, it's not in English.
Yeah, okay.
So the people who've sort of been underserved or have to watch it like dubbed or with subtitles or whatever, they get their own version in their own language. But this is just, we've seen the British Office and we've seen the American Office, and it's the same again.
I thought that was interesting because you made a point when we were talking about this in real life that why is it this David Brent character again? And it can become something else, but it is like want to be everybody's best friend, but also kind of a sellout and also like selfish and all of these.
Right.
But it's like, can it be a different thing?
A different thing, yeah. I know,
but Steve Carell is different than Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
So I think it probably, and look, again, I've seen 2.
Yeah, same.
And I don't know.
But 1.
Yeah, I don't know how, I probably will come back to it.
But what other direction do you go in with the boss?
Well, yeah.
Because otherwise it's like, the default position is normal boss and nobody likes them or whatever it is.
Great.
So like, where do you go? Do you go meaner?
Maybe.
You can only really go friendlier, I guess. But also like, I guess the people behind The Office have made millions and millions and millions of dollars across the world with The Office and DVDs and remakes of The Office and et cetera.
Yeah.
So I guess they know what they're doing. And I guess part of the core premise of it is now people want a sort of comfort food show. So you deliver them that. You want there to be 2 co-workers who are secretly in love with each other and there's the third wheel. One of them has a partner and then that partner's going to go away and then, they're going to get together and then that's that. But it's also interesting because the original Office is way sadder.
It is way sadder, but also the original Office came out in like 2001.
Yeah.
So it's like, this isn't fresh. Like that element of it.
Also, from that perspective, whether you like Ricky Gervais's output since The Office, or even Ricky Gervais's output including The Office, the original series The Office really, really does feel like it was written by somebody who worked in an office for a really, really long time. But if you are making a new version, you aren't going to farm out the writing of it to someone who works in an office and who wants to try out writing. You're gonna give it to a professional comedy writer, who may have never worked in an office or worked in an office 20 years ago.
Yes,
there's a different vibe.
There's a colourful cast of characters, but I think what the first one does, the original series does so well, and less so the American one, especially as it goes on. They look so normal.
Yeah,
where this is. It feels like wacky fucking...
Yeah.
I don't even... not outside of the core 3, I'm like, I guess that's fucking Creed and that's whoever. Like, I would need to see more of it, but it just feels like... They don't feel like... No one feels like a normal person.
There is one guy, in the first episode, he shows up late to the initial meeting and he's sort of greasy and he's carrying like an Aldi bag with all this stuff in it.
Sure.
I'm like, that guy feels kind of real.
Sure, yeah.
So, but the premise of this one, obviously, because, office culture has changed over the last couple of years, is that Felicity Ward's character, who's the David Brent character and the Michael Scott character, she oversees an office where most people work from home now.
The office.
And she's presented with, by one of her bosses, the idea that they're gonna make it completely work from home.
Yes.
And so she doesn't want that to happen because she wants friends in the office. And so she does an all office meeting and she says that head office has told us we all have to go into the office now. But
bless you, dog.
That wouldn't last, would it? And it doesn't. But like, you would. Why would you think that would work? That's crazy. That's the thing. That's a comedy writer's.
Yeah.
Like weird stuff.
It's a sitcom scenario.
Yeah, weird stuff happens in workplaces, but that would never happen in a workplace.
No.
The boss would never make an obvious lie that is going to unravel, in a half a day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't in the second episode. I'll tell you that much. Or it did, and they fixed it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Great stuff.
Anyway, that's our sterling endorsement of The Australian The Office, a show we probably won't finish.
The first 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah, I got other stuff to do. So,
but again, it was better. It's better than the trailer looks. I'll tell you that much.
No, that's true. Yeah,
there were jokes in it. Yeah, it's not. There are jokes in it that some of which I liked.
The Pam character's fiance is named Mason, and I'm like, hey, I know some people who write in Melbourne comedy. Maybe they've written me in as a bad guy. They know me.
I did.
Yeah.
Do you know people who worked on this?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
Well,
yeah.
You've just rubbished their great show.
That's right.
All right.
So I read a comic book.
Oh, we're still here, are we?
Yeah, we're still in this. We're still in this.
I was ready to go.
Well, too bad. I read a comic book. It's a 5-issue limited series called The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. There's the cover for you.
What is this? I know this.
So this is written by Ram V and illustrated by Philippe Andrade. And the premise of it is that the Avatar of Death is going to get fired because on Earth, a child's been born, and in the future they're going to come up with the technology to make everybody immortal.
Okay.
So death has now got nothing to do. So she's like, "Can you, I'm going to retire. Can you reincarnate me on Earth so I can live a life on Earth? With my final days."
Love that.
But she gets herself reincarnated in the era where this baby has been born, and she's like, "I'm going to kill this baby. I'm going to kill this baby so good because then I'll get
a job back.
I'll get my job back," kind of thing. But then circumstances intervene, and she keeps getting killed, usually around the kid, like
Gotcha.
Acme Roadrunner
Acme
style. But she's, she knows all the other gods, so she can keep getting brought back and brought back
in the same body.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha.
So, but it's some real exciting visuals, and it's about a character who learns that when you're not facing death from a distance, life is completely different.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I thought it was a ton of fun.
I'm literally purchasing this right now.
Wow,
Did you go digital or physical?
I got physical. Well, there was a new deluxe hardcover edition.
Well, I didn't
additional
do that.
pages.
I didn't do that, but I should.
Well, yeah.
I'm going to buy more comics, Mason, physically.
They're good.
I agree.
They're good when you get them.
I don't want a big shelf of comics and people come around and go, "What are you reading?" And I go, "Picture books."
Yeah, right.
That's what I tell
Picture
people.
books for stupid babies, you say.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
Cool. That's now in my library.
That's exciting. Let me know. Well, maybe we'll do a big read. We can do it as part of the book club.
Oh, yeah. Like we did that Venom book this week.
That's right.
Let's move it along, Mason.
To letters?
Segment?
I'll play the theme to letters.
And I'll listen.
The classic one was letters.
Very good.
You didn't listen the whole way.
I do. I get
barely
it.
listen to any of it.
I got the idea of it.
Well, should I just stop it now?
You can if you want.
Right now, we're going to do that. I'll let it play out.
All right.
Oh, there's the end. All right. That was
Very good, Mason.
Thank you.
I actually like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Now, if you do want to reach the show, it's quite easy. It's probably the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
You can hashtag Weekly Planet Pod on Twitter, though that is a less likely scenario now because that platform is bad and there's clearly people fleeing it like rats from a fucking ship. So, in the Planet Broadcasting Greats Mates group, I'm trying to every week now include it there.
That's
so you can leave your question there if you want. You could also just send an email directly to Mason at weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com.
That's right.
And tell him the hot goss.
Here's some hot goss. Oh, speaking of hot goss.
I love it.
This is an email from Henry, Russell Crowe story.
Hot goss Henry.
Hot goss Henry. I hope we get an email every week from now on from Hot Goss Henry.
Me too.
Hey gang, I'm from New Zealand, but I live in Melbourne. I had to pause your caravan of garbage, presumably on Gladiator, to write an anecdote which you probably can't say on the show, but you might get a laugh.
Okay.
There's 2 anecdotes. I'm going to only read the first one because the second one I definitely can't read.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm close friends with a Kiwi actor, comedian, writer called Peter Rowley, probably best known for the voice of the dog in Foot Rot Flats. Remember Foot Rot Flats?
What? From like the 80s?
Yes.
Okay.
And he knew Russell back in the 80s and 90s when he was trying to make it. According to Peter, there was a music venue where Russell would get on stage in between bands playing every week and do a set with his band using other people's instruments and get booed out of there, but apparently never cared and kept doing it. So that's great.
And the second?
Do you want? I'll tell you what it is.
Colleagues, take this out.
Allegedly.
Oh, I wish we could read that out.
Right? And I did.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a coward.
So for those people who don't know, and you wouldn't, only me and Mason and Collings know this, there was a second story to that, which we definitely cannot read out. Mm-hmm. But my God, what a story.
Oh, if you see this in real life, we'll tell
you in real life.
We'll tell you in real life.
That's incredible. It's nothing crook or anything. It's just a very funny thing.
It's funny. And might be a lie.
Yeah, so, maybe. We don't know. Yeah. Alrighty. Mm-hmm. Well, Mason, I've got a letter.
Also, there's a non-zero. Somebody pointed this out on Twitter. There's a non-zero chance that Russell Crowe will see our caravan of garbage.
I agree. He's active online.
He's
always
out there,
twittering.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is from Waverley Hampton III.
Oh, fancy name.
If you don't mind. Said, what's your favourite final girl movie? Now, I think there's some very obvious examples, Mason. There's Alien, and I guess Aliens also counts there. Predator, like Arnold could count as a final girl in that.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead, Shaun. The Final Girls. You ever seen that movie? It's
it's all Final Girls.
It's all Final
right?
Girls. Yeah.
Is the premise of that they've all survived previous?
Something like that. I have seen it and it is good. I can't. I think Malin Ackerman is in it maybe or something,
great,
and they travel back to something.
Okay.
Recently, though, my favorite Final Girl movie is Ready or Not, which is an amazing movie.
That is a good one. They're doing a sequel to that, I think.
They are, which stars Samara Weaving.
That's correct.
It's very fun and gory and it's very good. I like it. The director of that also ended up making that Ballerina's a vampire or whatever.
Oh, Abigail.
I believe. I think that was the same director. But Ready or Not's great.
Yeah,
and
it is
well worth a look. Yeah.
What's a good Final Girl movie?
Predator 2 with Danny Glover.
He's a final girl, isn't he?
Final Girl.
Yeah. It's interesting the premise is because for people who don't like, the idea behind it obviously is that, or the thinking at the time was, why is it always a girl at the end of horror movies that is the final survivor? And I think the premise seemed to have been at the time, well, a man wouldn't be like you want them to be like completely filled with terror.
Yeah.
And I think at the time they were like, well, nobody would buy a man being afraid of things.
It's true.
Has to be a girl.
Has to be.
Kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But Danny Glover is a great final girl.
Completely agree. All right, good example. What happens in The Descent? Is that a final girl movie at the end? Probably.
Was it mole people?
Yeah, it's like underground cavemen.
Yeah, right.
That's a good movie. Sequel not as good, but still, it's all right.
Yeah, true.
Cool. All right. What else you got, mate? What else you got for me?
There's an email from Ben, indie game recommendations, because I asked last week.
Alrighty then. I'm Ace Ventura.
Hello from BC, Canada. Metal Slug Tactics is releasing November the 5th.
Okay.
The pixel art is back and it looks phenomenal.
Remember, November 5th.
Metal Slug Tactics.
Metal Galactics.
I love the Metal Slug games back in the day on the Neo Geo. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I do. But what's Tactics? What's the difference?
I'm guessing it's probably
some
like
kind of isometric.
I bet it's
something?
a top. Yeah, I bet it's an isometric.
Turn-based tactics video game.
Tactics. Okay. Also, highly recommend Blasphemous 1 or 2 and 2 for its Metroidvania elements. Also, Wild Bastard, which is a sequel to Void Bastards, came out recently, and I want to ask if Mason has played it, as I bought Void Bastards on his recommendation years ago. I haven't, but that's fun. Wild Bastards is Void Bastards was like a procedurally generated
spaceship
game, and you'd go in and it was like a first-person shooter kind of thing. Yeah. And this one's in the Wild West, and it looks cool.
This does look cool.
Some people recommended Disco Elysium. I have played Disco Elysium. That's a good game.
People like Disco. What kind of game is Disco Elysium?
It's a point-and-click adventure of a sort.
Of a sort.
But you can never. It's a point-and-click
You
adventure
can never
game.
point or you can never click.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are a terrible character who always fails.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What about in the game?
Oh, he's back. He's back, folks.
I never left.
Direct hit, James. But you did leave. You were gone for a while, but now you're back.
Mason.
Yes.
This is from Alan Cameron, who says, as a father, would James ever think about letting his kids talk about a movie they saw on the podcast? And second part, Mason clearly loves dog time. Does he have any pets? Or do you have any pets growing up?
I don't have any pets. I did have an assortment of cats.
Yeah.
Is it family cats?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Do your parents still have cats?
No.
No?
No. They're always gallivanting about.
The cats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's too hard to catch them.
They are. They're quite wily. As for my son, probably it would be more likely my son because he's a bit older now. I've thought about it, but I don't want to do it as like content.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would only do it. I'd probably do it as like a big sandwich thing, maybe a video game or like a movie commentary. But it would have to be something that it would have to be fun. Yeah. Like I wouldn't make him do it. Mm-hmm. It would, and if I did it, it would be big sandwich. So I've thought about it just simply from like an activity to kind of do together.
Yeah, right.
But I don't.
You don't want to turn it into.
No,
content,
I don't want to. I don't want to make him a social media thing, and I wouldn't use his name and like I never do.
Like,
and else.
I mean, you know, and I mean, unless he was really, really wanted to do it, because otherwise it's sort of like.
And he would like if I was like, "Do you want to talk about Transformers 1?" Like 100%, or play a cool video game.
But also as well, I think like. If you put a kid in that position, I think as well, they probably would be more reticent to just give you their opinions in real life about things. Because you might be like, well, let's do that on the podcast kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, I don't think you would, but I think a lot, you know.
Yeah.
If you were like, hey, what do you think about this movie? And then you were like, will do it on a microphone. The next time you ask them about what do you think of that movie, they might be like, that was all right.
Yeah.
Not because they thought it was all right, but they're like, I don't want to do this
movies.
kind of thing.
So yeah, I think it would be fun. Like we have recorded like stuff together that's just like for fun that I've just like saved that I'm not ever going to do anything with. Because it's just like, I don't know, do you want to do like a weird little podcast?
Yeah.
Again, that's not as like, I don't want to, I just don't want to. I don't like that. I fucking hate people who do that to their kids. I don't like it.
Peanut Games Media on Twitter said, hey, this week on the pod you were talking about indie games, and I thought I would mention an Aussie indie that just came out called Ascending Inferno.
Okay.
It's made by a small team in the ACT, and I think it looks amazing. You should check it out. Let's have a look at this trailer. It's too loud. Okay. Yeah.
It's good that you're looking at it.
Oh, sorry.
Now I can only see it.
Now I can't see it.
Well, that's not what I wanted either.
Wow.
Whoa.
How's it look? Describe it to
great.
us.
I can't really
Are you being
describe.
sarcastic?
No, it's good. Why don't you look at it?
Okay.
No, I can't see it.
Oh, it's somebody football. It's somebody soccering their way out of hell. They're kicking a ball. It's haunted.
Haunted football.
Yeah, haunted football. Okay, that does look pretty fun. If it's on Switch, otherwise, it's no good to me.
It's on Steam. Why don't you get a Steam Deck?
I could get a Steam Deck, I guess.
People like them. Cool.
It's true.
Got one more, Mason.
Okay.
It's from Paul Ace, who says, do navy clothes and black clothes match each other? This is for you.
No.
So you can't wear like black pants, navy t-shirt?
No, because it would look like you got dressed in the dark.
Yeah.
Anything too close is odd, I find.
So you think, you need that contrast of colours?
Yeah. You can wear blue jeans and like a black t-shirt.
Completely
but
agree.
it's different.
It is. The blue jeans aren't navy.
No, they're not navy.
Yeah.
I would wear like, if you wear like a worn blue jeans and a black t-shirt, that looks fine. But if you like wear that really, really dark denim,
dark jean, yeah.
With
what about if you're matching? What if you go on black jeans, dark t-shirt?
That works.
Is that too much though? Do you look like you work for a band?
You might look like you work for a band doing their taxes and so forth. You could, I think within that situation, you need more contrast. So black jeans, dark blue t-shirt, fine. Navy blue t-shirt, weird.
Getcha.
Yeah.
I think also you could maybe break that up with a colourful pair of shoes.
You certainly could.
And that way it's kind of. I think for any outfit, you've got to have like at least a bright item. That's all.
Little pop of colour.
You're more of a fashion man than me. Which is obvious.
I have a lot of stuff.
You have a lot of stuff.
It's more that I've got.
I've got that Wolverine costume.
You do have the Wolverine costume, yeah.
Yeah, which let me tell you, did not breathe at all. And it's really good picking up your daughter from daycare in a Wolverine costume.
Yeah.
It's cool.
That is cool. You're driving with the claws on.
I wasn't supposed to. It just happened to go that way, basically.
Interesting.
Did you have a good Halloween?
It was all right. I only went to one Halloween party and it was like right at the start of October.
Oh yeah,
because I have a friend of mine.
That's right.
Who's from America, and she loves Halloween, but she goes all out. So it's like a huge whole situation. She makes all sorts of Halloween cupcakes and Halloween treats and what have you. So I did have a good time. But by the time everybody else was celebrating Halloween, I'm like, I'm done with Halloween.
Oh, also,
I went as a middle-aged mutant Ninja Turtle.
I remember.
Yeah. Did I show you a photo?
You did, but show me again.
Okay.
People also asked me where I got that Wolverine costume from. I got it apparently from Unibuy Plus.
Oh.
And also they custom made it. So they were like, what are your sizes?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I think I'm a medium. And they're like, what are your measurements? I'm like, these are my measurements. And they're like, none of this will fit you. So they made it to fit me specifically.
Whoa.
So it was pretty snug.
Or maybe they did have one to fit you and they're like, oh.
That's what they told me.
Okay.
That's what they told me, Mason.
Wow.
And I can write it off on tax.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's smelling in my cupboard.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
There I am, middle-aged mutant Ninja Turtle. I'm wearing a puffy vest.
That's fun, Mason.
I'm wearing a puffy vest and a
lanyard.
lanyard.
You got a lanyard.
Yeah.
What does a lanyard say?
It says Leonardo, sewer
That's
management.
fun. You are, yeah.
Also, here's a tweet. From the real T-Bal. He says, hey, Mr. Sunday Movies, and Wikipedia Brown. Sorry if you already covered this, but did you see that the new 28 Years Later movie is being filmed on iPhones?
Oh, we talked about it.
Did we?
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
Is
it's in
it
a special box, though, or whatever. It's got,
I was going to say, is it filmed on an iPhone with like a $100,000 lens? Because that's often how it's done.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the first one was filmed on like a fucking nothing.
It's true.
You can't see it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just they filmed a light through someone's hands.
Yeah.
They just looked at it and they were like, oh, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, you can now. Your phones are incredible.
Yeah, but
I mean, obviously you could use a regular phone, but with the proper lighting, you could make anything look like anything.
No, that's so
else.
true. Yeah.
You know.
But I do think there is a world of difference in credibility. Not technologically, but there's a world of difference in credibility between we filmed it on an iPhone and it was just people with good lighting with an iPhone in a like a selfie stick or whatever, or just sat there versus we filmed it all on iPhones actually, and it's like Yeah, with a $100,000 lens.
Exactly.
You know, what do you? I mean, you know,
Think you're better than
you've
us?
clearly done this as some sort of promoted content or something. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Mason, is that the show?
That's the whole show, folks. Thank you so much.
Finally, geez,
for
go forever.
listening. We absolutely appreciate it. Thank you for telling your friends about the podcast, because that is how we get new listeners. And thank you for leaving a 5-star review on any podcast app you've got, because if you do so, James,
I'll read
will
them out.
I'll
bring them up right now. This is from Sal Crumb, who says, "Great pod. In the brief time in between
Salacious Crumb?
No. In the brief time between Red Notice viewings, you should check...
Salacious Bum.
Yes.
Okay.
Check out this podcast about movies, comics, and more. Sometimes one or more of them has read a real book and talks about that, but don't worry, that's not too often. So true.
Yeah.
This one's from Man of Doodles Jorak, who says, Oda, the author. Hey, guys, long-time listener to the show.
Nice,
and
good,
One Piece
good
fan.
start.
I thought you guys would find it funny that the author Oda said, I'll be ending the show in about 5 years, and that was like 15 years ago. Then about a year or two ago, he said he's probably ending it in the next 5 years. Oh, that is funny.
That is funny stuff.
Yeah. That's good stuff and funny stuff.
That's 5-star funny stuff, let me tell you.
I agree.
Folks, if you want to get into contact with us, you can go to weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com. Or you can go to the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group or the Weekly Planet Podcast subreddit and Discord for fun, very civil chats.
The best time you'll ever have.
That's right, the best time you'll ever have, and chats about podcasts and what have you. But also, get in there for James's question thread.
Get in there, mate.
Get in there.
Yeah, come have a look. Come and have a look.
Get in there. I'm that guy from earlier. Who was I? The director of Godzilla?
Yes.
Yeah, get in there.
Or he no, it was Kojima.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Get in there.
Get in the booth.
I'm going to scan your head.
You got to be a rat man.
You're in a game.
Folks.
Yes.
Let me think. Where was I?
You were talking
thank you.
about
I was still
You're talking about Kulam.
I was talking about the groups.
No, you
anyway,
weren't.
thank you to Fidel and Sarabi and Maisie for moderating all those groups and for making our Clips channel and our TikTok channel and all sorts of stuff.
I agree.
Right. Folks, if you want to follow some people on the socials, follow our friend Rob Collins. He's at Rob Collins on Twitter. He's at The Weekly Planet on Twitter. He'll keep you updated on all things The Weekly Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at Wikipedia Brown, and on Instagram I'm Nick Maso. James is Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere. You want to support the show, you go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies, chuck in a buck or an amount you would not miss, or you go to bigsandwich.co for $9 per month. You get bonus podcast, movie commentaries, early videos, bonus video game let's plays, all sorts of stuff. As mentioned this week, our comic book club, where we talk about Venom.
Yep, that's
very exciting. Venom's still very much in the zeitgeist.
Agreed. We also
so.
we did Resident Evil last week. Resident Evil 4 twice. We did Deadpool and Wolverine.
I mentioned briefly last week the YouTube channel Any Austin, that he does like logistical. He answers logistical questions, on video games about where do the power lines go? Where do the rivers
Where did they go?
How do the NPCs get home? Do they walk or do they just disappear or what have you? He did one on. He did an unemployment survey of that village from Resident Evil 4. So it's him wandering around trying to figure out what everybody does for a living while they're trying to kill him with pitchforks and chainsaws and stuff. It's very funny.
Okay, cool.
You should look into that one.
I will.
If you want a t-shirt, you got a t-shirt. You go to tpublic.com.
Yeah,
for the
that's the best
Planet.
place to get one.
Best place to get one, but not navy and black together.
No, why would you even think about
insane.
that? Why would you even tell anybody you're doing that?
You get dressed, and it was 4 a.m. You got dressed in the dark. Is that what happened?
I didn't. Did you?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Thank you to the Brute and the Basilisk and Rackham for all our musical themes. Next week, a different thing. We're not
That's
sure
right.
yet.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. Might be Heretic.
Oh, yeah. But probably not.
Which is part of the Here cinematic universe. There was Here and then Heretic.
But it probably isn't.
No, it's probably something else. Yeah. Probably we'll think of something.
We'll figure it out.
Probably someone screaming.
Someone's screaming.
Someone screaming.
Because they're having a great time.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Grab that jamming, guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
We should have coordinated the substance.
Oh, yeah.
Should have talked more about
Talk
it.
about it next week.
Again?
Oh, yeah.
All the substance?
Well, I didn't really talk about it, did I?
No. Well, you did.
Yeah, but not enough.
Yeah, not enough.
Not like I knew what I was saying, or even if I saw it.
It's true.
Yeah.
You just went, it was a bit yuck.
I liked it, though.
Yeah, you could have guessed that.
I could have, and I did.
Wow.